Hi, my name is Liz Silverman, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a glass of sparkling water. But before you do that, you're going to need to make a carbonating system. So I'm going to teach you how to do this. So I've divided up this video into three sections. The first section is what you need to buy to assemble a carbonating system and make sparkling water. The second section is how to build this carbonating system, and it's really simple. And the third section is how to start making your own sparkling water. And once you do that, you get some practice with it. I'm going to teach you how to make club soda out of the sparkling water, how to make really good fruit juice sodas. So you're never really going to have to go to the store and buy cans or bottles of soda anymore because you're going to get to do it from your home. And it's really simple. So I hope you learn a lot from this video. All right, let's get started. Make a list of the following items, and then I'm going to show you what I'm using. First on the list is the 5-pound CO2 cylinder. This is the one I'm using. It's a Kedco B5. It's an aluminum tank. It costs about $65. You may be able to buy one at your local brewery shop. If not, they sell them online. You don't need to get this one. It can be any CO2 cylinder that you like that fits your budget. Just keep in mind that the 5-pound refers to how much CO2 the tank will hold. When you get it, it'll be empty and it weighs about 7 pounds. So you'll need to get it filled at your local brewery. It costs about $20. Next up is the dual gauge CO2 regulator. This is the one I'm using. It's a Taprite. It's a double gauge mixed gas regulator for about $55. Again, they sell a bunch of dual gauge CO2 regulators out there. Pick the one that you like that's in your budget. And next up, I suggest you get the gas line assembled set because it comes with all the remaining parts that you're going to need. It comes with the gas line, it comes with the ball lock quick disconnect, it comes with the swivel nut set and the hose clamps. And they sell for about $12 online. Now, if you already had some of these things at your house, you don't want to purchase this, you just want to purchase the other parts, I'm just going to show you what those are real quick. The gas line tubing, just make sure you get the ones for beverage, and they have the 5/16 inch inner diameter. And you can get it anywhere from 3 to 5 feet in length. And online, I found them, they generally charge about $1 a foot. And these are the ball lock quick disconnects for gas. You can get some that already have the swivel nut and barb on them, so you won't have to purchase the nut set. If you buy one without the swivel nut, then these are the details. Just make sure that it fits the disconnect that you bought. And these are the hose clamps. You'll be able to buy them in a pack for about $4. There'll be a bunch in the pack. Just make sure you get the ones that fit the 5/16 inch tubing. And this is the carbonator cap. This is what you're going to put on the plastic bottle to get the carbonation into the bottle. They make them either stainless steel or plastic. I've never used the plastic models. I've only used the stainless steel models, and they're about $10. And finally, I just want to point out that when you use your 1 liter or 2 liter plastic soda bottle, make sure that it is a PET plastic bottle with a screw top. Don't use a glass bottle. Make sure that the bottle was used for carbonated liquid. Don't use a plastic bottle that was used for flat water or flat juice. And never use a punctured, bent, or disfigured bottle. And don't clean your bottles in the dishwasher. If you do need to clean the bottle, take a look down here. I put how to clean and sanitize your soda bottle. So this will give you a general idea how to do that. All right, so once you order this and get all your parts, we are now going to build the carbonation system. I'm now going to teach you how to make your own carbonation system so that you can make sparkling water at home. I've already had my CO2 tank filled with CO2. I took it to my local brew shop. They filled it up with CO2 for me. Now, if you've already done this and it's been sitting around for a while, you may want to open and close the valve just very quickly to remove any dust that's built up in your outlet. It's just like this. And it'll remove any dust. You just want to make sure there are no pets or anybody standing next to it when you do that. Then you want to take your dual gauge regulator, make sure that the O-ring is still in the connection. You want to meet the connection flush with the outlet of the cylinder. You're going to move the nut over and you're going to finger tighten it. Then you're going to take your wrench and you're going to tighten it as much as you can. And this is important because this is a potential source for a CO2 leak. So the tighter you can get it, the better it is. Then you're going to take your gas line assembled set. I'm just going to point out a few things. On one end, you have your disconnect, you have your swivel nut, and you have your hose clamp. You want to loosen your hose clamp, which I've already done, and you want to slide it down, and you want to pull out your disconnect and just take off your nut. I just want you to see what it is. It's just a barb and a nut. Reassemble it, screw it back on. I find that when I get it, it's just been finger tightened. So you want to make sure you take your wrench and you tighten this as much as you can as well. And then stick it back in the hose and move your hose clamp about 1/4 of an inch from the top. And this is another place you want to really tighten it. You want no leaks when you're doing this. All right. So then I want to show you on the other side, there's another hose clamp and another swivel nut. Now, I don't need this swivel nut. My regulator has a barb at the end, so I'm going to take it out and just put it to the side. I'm going to take the end of the hose and put it onto the barb so that it's flush. And then I'm going to tighten this hose clamp again near the top, about 1/4 of an inch, and you're going to tighten it as much as you can. And that's it. Your system is complete. We can now make sparkling water. I just want to show you, if you did not buy this assembled set, if you bought the pieces individually, it's going to be the same. You're going to do the same thing. It's just the hose. You're going to take your barb and your nut, connect them, screw it onto the disconnect, tighten it, put on your hose clamp, slide the barb through the hose, and tighten the hose clamp. Again, about 1/4 of an inch from the top. From the other side, you're going to put the hose clamp on. Now, if we hadn't already assembled this one, we would just stick this empty end onto the barb and tighten this hose clamp. So either way, it's pretty quick, it's very simple, and now we're set to go. So watch the next part of the video to see how to make sparkling water. Now that we've made our carbonation system, we're all set to make our sparkling water. And I'm going to teach you how to make a really good glass of homemade sparkling water. It's really easy. So I've already filled my 2-liter plastic bottle with tap water. And about 15 minutes ago, I stuck it in the freezer to make the water really cold. And that is the trick to this whole thing, really cold water. The colder it is, the better your sparkling water will taste. CO2 absorbs into cold water better than warm water. So don't forget that. Always make sure your water is really cold. Also, I've filled it up about 3/4 of the way. this is going to give me room to put CO2 into the bottle. You don't want it up to here thinking you're going to get more water. You need room for the CO2 to get in. Also check your carbonation cap. Make sure that the rubber washer is still in it. These have a tendency to fall out. Just make sure it's there. And that's it. So let's get started. I'm going to take the top off of the bottle. I'm going to squeeze the water up to the top so there's no air in there. I'm going to screw on the carbonation cap. So this is what it looks like, just a dented water bottle. Then we're going to take the disconnect on the air tube. Remember, this is called the disconnect. If you notice, the bottom of it lifts up. It's like a skirt, a lady lifting up a skirt. So you're going to lift it up and you're going to place it onto the carbonation cap. So it's still indented, and we're going to turn on the valve on the cylinder. You're going to twist it all the way to the left. Make sure that it's all the way open. You don't want it half open. Some of the CO2 will back up into the system. So when you use it, all the way open. Now we're going to take the knob. We're going to pull it out. See that? Goes in and out. So you want to pull it out, and it starts at 0. You want to move it to 45 ppm. I like my sparkling water really, really bubbly. You may not. You may want to put it at 30 when you start. But I'm just going to show you the way I make it. So I'm going to put it on. The needle is now on 45, so we're set. Now I'm going to turn on the safety valve, which is this knob right here. Right now it's sticking out like a duckbill. I'm going to slowly bring it down and watch the bottle fill up. So I just slowly filled the bottle, and now it's completely open. Now the bottle is taut. It's very tight. I can't push it in. Now if I turn it upside down, you can see the bubbles start to go in. Those are actually the CO2 bubbles. They're going to rise up and fill up any airspace that is in there. I could just leave it like this, and over time the CO2 at the top is going to mix with the water, but it takes a long time. So the easiest thing to do is shake it. Shake it for about 30 seconds to a minute. I actually shake it closer to a minute. And this is forcing the CO2 and the water to mix. It doesn't naturally mix. The CO2 will just sit on top and over time be absorbed into the water, but it does take time. So this is just helping it get in. So again, the CO2 in the tank is going through the regulator, it's going through the hose, it's going through the carbonation cap, and you can see the bubbles that slowed down. It's actually filling up with CO2. It's going to continue to force the water and the CO2 to mix. And this is it. This is how you make sparkling water. All right, so it's been about a minute. I'm going to show you, just to take it off again, you lift up the bottom part of the carbonation cap. I'm going to give it a final shake. I'm going to turn off the regulator lever, off position. I like to bring the pressure back down to 0 just so it's fresh and ready to start the next time I go. Like everything just to be off. So I bring it back down to 0. And I turn off the cylinder lever all the way to the right, all the way off. And that's it. This is our sparkling water now. So listen when I take off the cylinder cap. And now I'm going to pour it into our glass. And that's our sparkling water. Give it a try. It's really good. I really like it. Now, Let me just show you something really quick. If you've just made that and you just don't want sparkling water, I've already squeezed lemon and I'm going to pour it into this same glass just with ice. And then I'm going to pour my sparkling water on top. And this is just a fresh glass of lemon soda water. It's really good. It's my favorite thing. Use any kind of fruit. Just put some fruit in there, top it off with the carbonated water, and you're set. So if you like this video and you want to keep making sparkling water, practice. Just make it over and over again. People are going to love it. And then come watch my other videos. I'm going to show you how to make a glass that looks just like this, but it's club soda. It's just with a little bit of minerals and salts. I'm also going to show you how to make a really good fruit flavored soda. And that's it. So if you have any questions, comments, you need help, just write it down below and I'll come and answer anything I see. So thanks for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. See you later. Bye. Okay, there's actually one more part. I know I said if you bring your tank really cold to the brewery or wherever you're taking it to fill your tank with CO2, the more it will fit into it. So it's just as simple. Get an ice chest, you put your tank into it, bag of ice, zip it up, and you can bring it to the brewery like this. And this will be nice and cold by the time you get it there. So that's my first tip. All right, this is my second tip. It's more of a safety tip, really. In the very beginning, I mentioned that you might want to remove any dust or foreign objects that might have gotten into your valve opening by just opening and closing the valve handle really quickly. I didn't mention just to have your window open. It's always safe. I always have my windows open for fresh air. It's just a really good idea. So that's my tip number 2. All right, tip number 3 is also a safety tip. I'm going to be showing you how to look for any gas leaks that might be occurring once you build your carbonation system. So once you put on your hose and your dual gauge regulator, if you hadn't tightened something well enough, I'm going to show you how to find these leaks. So take a look at the following illustration. It shows you some of the points where those gas leaks can occur, and then I'll show you what you can do to stop them. So as you saw in this illustration, there are about 6 points for a possible gas leak on your carbonation system. The main way to even know that you have a gas leak is once you fill it up with CO2, make a note of where the high pressure gauge needle is. It'll be in the green zone where it says full. So once you fill it up, note where it is. If the next day after you've set it up, it's lowered and it's not full or as full anymore, you do have a leak. So to check for the leaks and where they might be, you're going to need a soapy water solution. This is a leak detector soap. I've included the recipe after this tip. It's just dish soap, water, and glycerin. If you don't want to make it, you can always order one. They sell them online as well. They both work. So the main places for leaks are where you connected the gauge to the cylinder, the regulator to the cylinder, and the hose to the regulator and the hose to the disconnect. So turn on the valve, set the pressure at about 5, turn on the safety valve, and spray the soapy water where the hose meets the disconnect, and look for bubbles. If bubbles form, that means gas is leaking out. You want to retighten the hose clamp or the nut on the disconnect. You also want to spray at this connection and look for bubbles forming. And then again, if they're forming, you want to tighten the hose clamp. And you also want to spray where the nut meets the cylinder and look for bubbles. Because again, if you see bubbles, air is blowing through it. That means gas is leaking, and you just want to retighten it. And that's it. That's how to check for gas leaks. This is the directions for the leak detection soap. You may want to go to the sources where I got them and read more about it. My fourth tip is just to let you know you should always store your cylinder in an upright position. When you use it in an upright position, and when you store it, always leave it upright. And also never leave it in the sun. Don't leave it in the heat. Don't leave it next to the heater. Don't leave it in your car. Don't leave it in a sunny spot where sun comes through your window. Always leave it in a cool spot in your apartment or in your house in an upright position. My final tip is just to remind you to practice making your sparkling water. You're going to end up loving whatever you make. Just continue to experiment with it. I want you to take a look at the following resources and sources that I list after this. It'll show you some of the sites that I used before I knew how to make the sparkling water that taught me how to do it. So take a look at those. Continue to learn. Have a lot of fun making your water. And I hope you look at my future videos. Thanks for watching.